Just quickly, before this podcast starts, a bit of a trigger warning. This episode contains some talk about miscarriage and stuff like that. So just in case you don't want to listen to stuff like that, then stop now, basically.
Hi guys, if you're watching this, if you're not watching this, you're not supporting us on Patreon, and we'll go on to that in a minute. But if you are watching this, one camera angle this time. Last time we tried 3 and then one of the cameras died. The kind of A camera that I'm looking at now. If this, it's got a fucking flashing light on it. And last time I never acknowledged the light was dead.
No, and also I can see the numbers going up. The numbers weren't even there, I don't think. It was just off.
We were not on point.
No.
If you're watching this, we're just trying one angle purely for the sake of time, but also for time and ease. Otherwise we've got to cut between things, and we're lazy. We got a lot going on, so we're just going to jump straight into it and keep this train rolling. Are you just glaring at the audience while the intro's on?
There's nothing else to do while the intro goes. Usually we kind of just stare into space because no one can see us, but might as well look at the audience.
We look at our extensive show notes.
Yeah. I just realised that now that they can see, luckily they can't see the other side of the room. It's not that messy, really.
It's not that messy. We just...
Come on, let's just...
That's my muddy coat. We've got a practical work environment going on. We got clothes for the next collection. Darwin is literally fucking KO'd on the floor because I just took him out. Took him out to do some frisbee and it's boiling, and now he's just like... He's splooting. He's got his hips out.
Fuck does splooting mean?
It's when they do that like... I say it looks like a hammerhead shark. His back legs go like that, flat on the floor.
Oh, yeah. That's splooting.
It's a legitimate term, splooting.
Oh, for dogs only?
Yeah.
Like we can't sploot.
Oh, maybe cat. I don't know.
Because we just lie on our belly.
We lie on our front,
It would be splooting.
Yeah. Hello, hope you're well. Special hello to our Patreon Pat.
We fucking hit 100.
Yeah, we hit 100 in a week. We've been going just over a week now. It's Tuesday. So, incredible support response.
Yeah, no, it's been really, really good.
Really didn't know what to expect. And I feel like, no YouTube video this week, but about 30 videos have gone on Patreon. So the Patreons are getting their money's worth. I'll tell you that for free. Well, actually, I won't tell you that.
Well, no, they can hear it.
Visibly, you can pay for that. Mm-hmm. But no, it's really cool. We got more videos and stuff to come. And I think the thing that I've loved so far is like, we got the Discord up and running, and already we're having back and forth conversations with some of the brand's biggest supporters and people who like truly have been with the brand for so long and bought so much stuff. And we're now in this position where we can quite have like kind of one-to-one or one-to-a-few conversations and go like, hey guys, what do you think of this design idea? And already we presented something to them the other day, and it's going to be a Patreon exclusive item actually, but like, they said like, oh, I actually prefer that version. And it's like, cool. Well, now we know what's got a better chance of selling. And 2, they feel like they've been involved with something. So
yeah, well, they have been involved with something. And at the end of the day, it's for them.
Yeah. So it's sick. Like it feels
That's
very...
what the Patreon's about, which is really
good.
Cool.
I'm just checking that light's still flashing.
We've already got naturally got an admin on our Discord as well.
Scotty T. Yeah.
Don't know if you're listening to this, Scotty, but... We consistently adding really funny things to the Discord because like me and Giles don't really know much. I know a bit more than Giles.
I thought you knew stuff until Scotty T came along.
No, like I just know I've just used it. But
did you see you put the poll bot in yesterday?
No, so now it's another new thing.
Now we've got a poll bot, so we can do polls and be like, who's better or what's better and things.
See,
and
that's so sick.
He's done ridiculous things. Like if you do @Darwin, there's like it's a random generator of images that he's got off Darwin's fucking Instagram page, and you get random ones. I think there's 7, or if you're unlucky, you get a photo of me in a crop top.
Yeah. There's there's different ones like that, isn't there? Like a ranking system and loads of things. So that is an exclusive Discord. We said that before, but
you have to pay for it. But like,
but it's not that what you're getting. You're getting everything else. That's just like where everyone hangs out who's part of the workshop,
And as we said, like the separation of the workshop is going to be. It's all kind of stuff that happens here. It's all that, like, all the content that's gone up is basically building this place out, the fuckery that's happened and like making stuff and things. So for some people, they seem super interested, and for others, it might not be your thing. And so like, that's where that separation is. But parkour focused stuff will obviously still go on YouTube and in the public and things like that.
Yeah.
But no,
I wonder how much of the workshop we can talk about before people start getting bored.
Probably not that much. Although your car crush video is going up on, I think, Friday, because we said if we hit 100, we're going to release it.
Yeah.
And it's we haven't talked about that yet on this. Part of me wants to do a fucking...
I want
to do a director's commentary over the top of it.
Yeah, we can.
We could do an extended...
Because people don't know that you obviously saw it in the trailer. If you didn't, then I don't know how you missed it. But the car
a lot of people
back,
missed the fucking baby thing.
Yeah,
but I guess
which we need to talk about today.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the whole story behind me getting hit by my own car.
Don't give too much away.
No, I'm not going to say it now, but I'm just saying it's more than just that. If that makes sense.
It's the most bizarre thing.
Just the whole thing, like where Giles was and everything.
Yeah,
it's just so funny. It's just it's a movie scene in itself.
I can explain my part because that's not on camera. But I was watching the security camera live as I'd parked my car inside the building because I needed to dry it out because it was really wet on the inside. So I was watching the security cameras to see Kelan's reaction as he turned up and my car wasn't there. And I wanted to see him walk in and see a car inside the warehouse space because we'd never put a car in there before. So I was already watching the cameras and then I watched this scene unfold and then it was the most fucking insane thing I've ever seen in my life. Like,
you just couldn't do shit.
I was just powerless, and it was happening like meters away from me on the other side of a brick wall, and I was like, "Oh my god, he's dead." So, but yeah, that's all I'll say for now. But yeah, fucking baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm having a baby. Wow, I've only just realised. No.
So how?
Oh no! Wait. Firstly, let me just apologise, Robin. I did a chat with Robin, the coach.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Did you see the bit where I'm just a dick at the start? Not a dick.
No, you know how do you mean?
Well, you know how we were talking about like modesty and like being bad at like saying thank you for people people.
I didn't watch that bit. I was
You know when you
was
and
watching
Mark
a bit
were
about
talking
the
about
Arch Club. But I don't think I saw that bit.
Me, you and Mark the other day were talking about like being modest and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And like if somebody says, "Oh, I don't know, your video is amazing," and you kind of like you either downplay it or it's like how to react to that. Robin said congratulations, and I think I said like thank you or something, and then I was like, and then I just said like I find it weird. I kind of wanted to make it.
Did you accidentally say I find it weird when people
congratulate you for having a baby,
and he's just congratulated you?
No, but and the reason being is because the funny part of me, this is what I said to Jordan months ago when I told him, is he said congratulations, and my response was like, "What? We just had sex?"
Yeah.
In a very, very practical sense, that's essentially you're going like, "Well done, mate, you had sex." Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but I just felt like a dick because I said it on this live stream and then just like made the thing awkward. And now thinking about anyone who watches that. Because I just go like, I find it weird when people congratulate you. And he's like, oh, okay. So yeah, sorry for that.
Yeah. I know you didn't mean it in that way.
Yeah, it just made me awkward. But the funny thing I saw, and I got DMs from people like Callum commented and was like, whoa, you kept that secret. But also it's because like, I'm in a couple of group chats with Callum where we talk about ridiculous stuff. I'm not going to go, by the way, guys, I'm having a baby.
Yeah, like when you said...
and I don't want to
kind of easy. You just don't put it on social media.
Yeah, someone literally DM'd me who I'm pretty certain I have never spoken to in my life, and they were like, "Wow, how did you keep that a secret?" Well, I just
okay. That is weird because
just didn't put it on Instagram.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, he did keep it a secret from most of us.
Well, okay, so
I knew for the most part most of things.
Well, okay, so this is the reason I wanted to talk about the baby on this podcast is not just to go, oh, I'm having a baby, because that is sick and exciting. And I've got
no, but we need to talk about how you're gonna your look into what's the right word. Like this baby's growing up in a generation full of good and bad, but social media, like how are you basically like? Because I want to know how you're going to raise this kid. Social media.
I don't fucking know. I don't know how I'm going to raise a kid. I still feel like a kid. I don't know.
You kept it secret from social media. Like now what happens?
Yeah, like Drake. And then fucking not T-Pain. That guy called me out on it.
Anyway, what were you going to say? It's not just to say you're having a baby, but...
Well, so it's slightly more dark, and I'm actually going to, after this, record a little disclaimer to put the start, because... And you know about this stuff that I'm about to talk about, but even like some close people to me do not know this stuff.
Oh, you want to talk about that?
it's not like I want to, but I think it is something that needs to be spoken about more. And I've checked with Sarah, and like she's fine to talk about it, or for me to talk about. And so we were actively trying to have a baby. And the reason I'm talking about this is because the majority of people listening to this podcast are young lads. And once again, I'm going to repeat this disclaimer that this is a sensitive topic, and therefore if you feel like this could sort of trigger you, then stop listening. But
or just skip to the part where we talk about tracers and freerunners.
Yeah, exactly. But we were trying last year. Sarah got pregnant pretty much immediately, which was crazy. And that was like, and we hadn't told anyone apart from families and friends. Like most people, typically they get to their 12-week scan, which is kind of when the baby becomes.
But you kept that quiet, right? The first time.
Yeah. Well, so
I didn't.
Basically, your chance of having a miscarriage, which is what we had, is significantly higher. Like it's like literally 1 in 4 or 1 in 3 before the 12-week mark.
Yeah.
After that, it rapidly declines because during those 12 weeks, the baby is going from like a single fucking cell basically to a thing. After that point, it still grows fast, but it's like slightly less chaotic. And most people get to the 12-week mark. That's generally when I would say most people go public because they're very excited and they want to tell people, or at least tell close friends. Like, we were literally 1 day away from telling you and some of the most people when it happened. Like that's how, like we told family all of this.
You mean when it happened?
Yeah. When the miscarriage happened. Like, and so a lot of, and this is the other thing is a lot of people also miscarriage like early. And so they'll get pregnant and within a couple of weeks they'll have a miscarriage, which is obviously tragic, but it's slightly.
I think what you are saying anyway, they're way more normal than people think.
Well,
because people don't actually tell you about it in the moment, and sometimes they don't tell you about it at all.
The Prime Minister of New Zealand, the woman, I can't remember her name now, who basically just is killing it, has just made it a legal right that you have to get maternity leave after a miscarriage happens. Not maternity leave, like you have to get official leave from work. You're allowed it. Whereas before, you could have a miscarriage, you lose your fucking first child.
And you have to go into work.
You have to go into work the next day.
Job.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to, but like a lot of workplaces don't have to enforce that.
Because it's way more traumatic than I thought.
The darkest fucking part of my life.
Yeah.
Like in a space of a couple of days. And I'm not going to go into details, but like most people miscarriage if it's going to happen earlier on. Obviously, some people miscarriage really late. Like it could still fucking happen to Sarah and it'll be, fuck me up.
Yeah.
But miscarriages typically happen, they're more often to happen earlier on. And then as you approach that 12-week mark, things start to get better. So we basically were just about to feel like we were safe to some extent. And we're then about to start telling close friends and things like this because we were excited. We weren't going to put it on Instagram straight away. And this is another reason as to why we left it so long. But the thing I'm trying to say is that it is so much more common than you think. And if there's, let's say, a couple of thousand young lads listening to this predominantly, even if like half of them go on to have kids and then like 1/4 of that, it's gonna there is a good chance it will happen to you or someone in your life. And it's so weird that people don't talk about it. Yeah. Like it's because it's fucking traumatic, but also it's so common. It's not like this really rare thing where it's like, oh.
But do you mean it's so weird that people don't talk about it afterwards, or in the moment you think it's weird that people don't talk about it?
I think just generally that we become more accepting of the fact
the conversation
needs to happen because when it happens, you feel so secluded. Like you don't know, it's not one of those things like going into getting pregnant with Sarah. I knew miscarriage was a risk, but we didn't know. I mean, Sarah probably knew more than me because she obviously, as time goes on, looked into it.
You probably didn't think it was on the cards, really.
You don't really think about it.
You know it could happen, but it's one of those things.
But but the other thing is when it does happen, especially for girls, is like, they feel ashamed. Like we felt like not ashamed, but like you feel fucking guilty. Or like, well, what did we do? Especially Sarah. It's like, well, what did she do wrong?
Why didn't it work?
What like blah, 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 blah. And it's all I'm basically saying is just like, it's far, far more common than you think. And there'll be many more people in your life than you think of who have been through it. And normally people go like, oh yeah, I had a miscarriage last year, but I didn't want to talk about it at the time.
Yeah. Ask your parents about it as well.
Yeah. It's
your parents probably had the same thing.
But it's it's just a lot of trauma. And I think with a lot of trauma based things, it's easier to open up those conversations so that when it does happen to people, there's more opportunities for conversation to alleviate matters and things like this. So sorry, I dragged that out a bit, but like, I think there's such a huge male audience that we have who kind of probably don't ever think about these things. And I didn't think about these things. And when it hits you, it's awful. Like it's so awful. So yeah, you know, there you go. You're paying $5 for that.
Saying that, huge, we probably have a huge male audience, or we do. I don't really know the statistics and how you'd figure out the ratio between men and women who listen to this podcast.
I know on YouTube it's like pretty substantial men.
Yeah.
Boys, lads.
And young as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's definitely, not that this needs to be said, but definitely loads of things that we could probably push on this podcast.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I'm young as well. I don't know loads of things, but especially to do with, I mean, miscarriages is one, but also just loads of things to do with sexism and things that you know, the generic things that when you're younger growing up, I don't feel like it gets spoken about enough.
Yeah.
To that audience,
I think it's getting better considerably.
Not just those things, but, you know.
I mean, there's loads of topics. It's like the second you have some form of a public platform, it's like, well, why wouldn't you talk about these? You know, the thing I fucking do not get, and I think it is probably more of an issue, or I could be really naive in saying this, but in America, there's this like rise of like Asian hate. Have you seen this?
Oh my God, I have seen it.
Yeah, I saw a fucking video.
My friend Johnny's been sharing a lot of it.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Instagram videos?
I just saw one this morning of a woman in New York near Times Square, and some guy just on the street. It's a security camera film from inside, and a guy just walks up to her and just beats the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Apparently says like, you don't belong here. And then like the security guy of the hotel closes the door on her, even though she's lying in the street like fucked up. But it's like,
to not let her in?
Well, I think just to like,
kind
it's probably a fancy place, and he's like, oh, I'm going to shut this way. But it's like, it's fucking 2021.
Yeah, I know. It's weird because I didn't actually think that, I don't know whether that's because of, I mean, COVID probably didn't help it. I think loads of really stupid people have.
At the start, there was definitely a lot of people who were
I've
like.
I've seen videos like that, but a lot of them aren't even related to COVID at all. And it's just anything like that now in 2021, if you want to put it that way.
It's like, what the fuck? Like,
how can you be that fucking stupid?
It's like, you're a scooterer. You don't do parkour. I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, what's going on in your brain?
Actually, it's not even like you're a scooterer. It's like,
no, but what?
It's a race. Like it's just Europe. Yeah. What the fuck? Like,
I just hope that you'd think by now everyone would get past that. You know, when I don't want to change the subject drastically, but yesterday, because my mum was doing that sponsored run thing, where she dresses up and she was running and one of the school buses went past, like a big secondary school one, which I thought was funny because I was like, wow, this is going to be embarrassing, and it in a funny way, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
And just so many people shouting gay, gay, gay out of the bus. And
at your mum?
At my mum, and I don't know
just wearing
at what's happening. But then
just to clarify, Keelan's mum's doing like, what is it, all this week?
So this week, yeah, she's dressing up in different really
like
silly,
wacky
outfits to raise money for National Autistic Awareness, because of the thing of they feel so different anyway. She wants to,
and she's running.
She's raised £400. It's
sick,
fucking mad. But anyway, so that happened, and I wasn't necessarily offended for my mum or for me.
It's more the casual use of gay. I was more
confused that, wow, the best you can do is, you could have said something really funny because that's what kids do.
Yeah.
You shouted gay in a time like this. What is that funny to anyone anymore?
I know, because like when I was at school, gay used to be like, you just kind of, it was essentially, people would go like, oh, that's gay. But now I hear that and I'm like,
yeah, and
fucking hell.
It's, less educated. I'm not saying it was more right back then, but I'd say in school it was said.
Well, times progressed.
Times progressed, and now that everyone's more educated on that, it's just, I don't really find that funny, and I was just a bit disappointed that I thought the kids now in this generation, the generations below me, would just understand that that's not fun anymore. You know?
Yeah, and it's like, it's just such a, if
that's still going,
it's such a basic insult.
That's why I'm so surprised with the Asian hate, or just any sort of cultural hate. How are you not educated on that anymore? You know?
Yeah.
You can see little slip ups in people for racism or
just spitting on the table there.
Yeah, I think so. Like racism or sexist or stuff that it slips out and you can see that it's an accident and they are uneducated on it. But things like beating up people.
Well, that's the thing. Like
beating up people because of where they're from or what they look like.
We as like
so stupid.
Yeah, we as like straight white men are definitely like systematically or whatever. Like there's definitely stuff that we could maybe say or think that just through our upbringing and things could be, you're like, oh shit, that's probably not actually appropriate or like blah, blah, blah. But at least we're kind of aware of that. But then you get people who are like Asian person, bad, kill. Like, whoa.
Well, yeah, but also when do you ever see it the other way around that any other culture apart from what do we call kind of straight white?
I mean,
Caucasian.
Yeah.
I've never really used that word, but you don't see it the other way around.
No, I mean, people can like express views and things, but it's not like there's this fucking like collective of...
It's not like some random white guy gets beaten up by loads of Asians or any other kind of race. It's always attacking on the...
It's because there's a lot of scumbags in the world.
I know, I just find it weird. Like, if people can't clearly see who's being targeted... Yeah, it's a bit of a rabbit hole. But
I don't. It's just the world's. There's so many fucking things like this.
The point about it is
we talk about parkour, guys.
I mean, we don't have parkour in our podcast.
This is we're crudely talking about
not that talking about this solves anything, but it's more that if there's anyone who's listening to this who maybe hasn't ever really thought about those things.
Oh, there's definitely a lot of people I still.
Not saying you're technically a bad person, but
you could improve.
Yeah, and maybe you just haven't heard people talk about that yet. And especially that I forget there's people who probably look up to this podcast a bit and they don't know our views on things. And if we talk about how we truly feel about those situations.
We like heavy music and we don't like racism, sexism or homophobia.
Well, there you go. Like maybe that would change your view on things a bit.
There you go.
Whether it's for...
Basically. Oh, and we like parkour sometimes.
Sometimes, but...
Yeah.
It's not a parkour podcast.
Yeah, there's still people I not hang out with, but like there's still people I have.
Do you ever notice it? Are you saying the people you hang out with?
Is that Darwin just grumbling?
Notice little slips of things.
Well, going back to the gay thing, like there's still people I know who I've been with and they've gone like, nah, that's gay. And I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing to say now.
Because you wouldn't get offended by it, but it's just a bit...
And also, I think
a bit lower of them, like, what?
Yeah, and I think even a lot of sort of homosexual people are probably just like, depending on what age they are, they've probably been around that simple, like, oh, that's gay enough to kind of not feel anything too much. But it's just such a crude, like, and just say it's shit.
Yeah, and
you can't offend poo. It's poo. Like,
yeah, exactly. And I know people will probably say people just need to stop being sensitive, but it's actually just really easy not to say certain words. Which is kind of easy. But, so I don't want to be... This first half of the podcast isn't meant to be a downer. It isn't. It's
a Debbie Downer. Actually, what that did just make me think about, given that we're just fucking not talking about parkour, is that there's this we were talking in the group chat basically the other day about I'm going to say it. We were talking
group chat.
Yeah, we were talking about one of Kieran's videos, and I think somebody said like, oh, it feels like he's getting a lot of shit recently and things like this, and I can't remember who it was. Somebody basically said like, oh, like we need to like not chat too much shit about him. And I don't like the point I raised about one of his videos that I think he just hadn't got someone's name right or something like this. I wouldn't consider chatting shit, but like there is this strange thing that I think you do. I'm not saying don't be, there's being, what am I saying? Some people
I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
Well, no, so some people, you said like, oh, people shouldn't be so sensitive. And that's not,
well, as in, I'm not saying people shouldn't be.
No,
but some people do say that, yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with your thought process there.
But also, people shouldn't be so sensitive to criticism, certain criticisms and things, if that's what you're going to say. When there's criticism towards Kieran's videos
I'm not saying,
things.
What is that noise?
Death.
I think Doug's making some noise next door.
Just making noises.
I know, it sounds like he's just grinding and listening to music. Our neighbour Doug's a legend.
Sorry, carry on. I'm interrupting you.
Basically, I think in this new age of internet, not this new, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Forever growing.
You have to be somewhat aware that kind of if you're willing to put yourself out there in Kieran's position or something, that is good. It like, or just let like even us, you have to go to bed at night or live your day knowing that people are.
Maybe we don't like you.
Well, I'm just talking about you.
Yes.
Like I am so aware that there are people in the community who probably think I'm a prick or think I'm lame or think, I don't know. And I think you have to have some level of self-acceptance to that. Obviously, if somebody's...
What positive outcome is it going to do if you think about that? If you think about people hating you and stuff.
Yeah. But also, like, I don't know. We were talking about Kieran's video. Some people had criticisms, other people didn't. Like, but I think we should be allowed to talk and have criticisms of things. If they're kind of conversational like that, without feeling guilty for like, oh, we're talking behind somebody's back. It's like, I can go, oh, Kieran got this guy's name wrong in a video. I think he should have done better work than that because...
Yeah. I was the one in the group chat saying...
Oh, was it you?
It was me. I sent I wasn't on the WhatsApp for a while and then I just read through the whole conversation and then I sent like a big paragraph just saying... Because I mean, in general, I understand talking behind people's back. That sounds really bad, talking behind people's back. But the conversations are really good. But when I was reading through that, there were some things that people were throwing out that just didn't sound like criticism, if that makes sense. Not necessarily...
Sounded more like kind of...
Well, it was kind of just like, yeah, that's shit. Or I can't think of exactly what people were saying, but some of it just sounded unnecessary. Whereas I don't feel like you say unnecessary stuff. But
I probably do sometimes though.
Yeah,
but also I'm like,
well, like not talking about how he could improve like saying something like, oh, Kieran did this in his recent video. He probably should have done that. That would have been better.
It's when you just go like, thing. That was shit.
Yeah, or just saying like, oh, I'm starting to not like Kieran's videos, or yeah, I don't really like his stuff anymore. Those things, like, I guess
that's an opinion. I think just going like,
but it's just,
I would say it's more unfounded, not claims, but like someone just going like, I mean, not saying anyone said this about Kieran, but like if somebody went like, oh, Kieran's a cringy scumbag. Like that's bad because there's no grounded kind of thought process.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the thing is that like in situations like this is if you are putting yourself out there, people may come to you with these, like I could have quite easily messaged Kieran and gone like, oh, you got that guy's name wrong. It was actually this guy. But also there's 1,000 YouTube comments saying the same thing.
The same thing, yeah.
And
I think sometimes he just does need, because we are friends with him, if there's any way we can help him, it should be done to make him feel, because you should expect that you're going to get hate or there's going to be people who don't like you. But if you've got the opportunity that we are kind of friends with him to at least alleviate that in some sort of way, then it's kind of nice. I'm not saying it should be done, but like you're saying, there's loads of comments already saying that, so you don't need to say it.
Yeah, just to clarify, this wasn't directly linked to Kieran. It was more that I just think that like...
This is just a random example, if that makes sense, of these things.
But like it's more, it's just more that I think... I don't really know where I'm going with it. It was just that I was thinking this the other night after seeing that group chat, and then you sort of about the sensitive thing made me think like we need to be nice and we need to be kind of like I fucking don't know what I'm saying. I'm losing it.
Yeah.
I'm losing it.
Yeah. I'm just, some people, I think it's different between different people, because you could say something about someone behind their back, but actually you would say if they were here too, and you would just say like that, which is a good thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
that doesn't always have to be the case.
I think the simple statement I'm trying to say is like, if you were going to put yourself out and do something that is going to generate an audience, you have to be prepared for.
Oh yeah.
Like you have to get over the fact that people are going to talk about you. Like there will be people going like, why the fuck's Kelan wearing those trousers in his videos?
Yeah, exactly.
And like that shit can either keep you up all night or you can just be like, whatever, that's your opinion. Like, and but the thing that we shouldn't stand for is like, that person's Asian, I'm going to beat the shit out of them.
Yes. Yeah. Let's come back to that. Yeah, no, for sure.
So,
but sorry, Kieran, if you just listened to that and we just spoke about you for fucking ages. I don't like you. I'm joking. I'm really joking.
Oh yeah, Kieran's a patron. You can address him to his face.
We're gonna have him on the podcast at some point.
Hopefully within like a week or two.
Yeah.
We're just working out when he can actually come down. Oh yeah, technically we're legally allowed to have our houses now, aren't we? As of yesterday.
Yeah, wow. So I can leave my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so bad that like it just got to the stage where like, because that was yesterday and I was like, oh, people are still meant to be in their houses?
Yeah, because
no one is.
No one is. The little playground park near my house yesterday had like 30 people in it.
Rammed, yeah, everywhere. It's just
and now only the rule
busy.
now it's the rule of 6.
Which basically means you can have groups of 30, but just 6 of them stay.
6 more groups of 30,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
I think that's what that is. But I mean, for us, things haven't changed because this is where we work, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the only reason we're leaving the house, kind of.
I'm the scumbag employer who's like, this job has to be done from the office. You have to risk your life to come here.
Yeah.
But
what, just in the car and then coming back out?
Yeah.
Such a risk.
Should we talk about
Parkour?
Yeah. Fucking
Do we
hell.
do that?
What is this episode?
Yeah.
Yeah. Funnily enough, actually, so Kieran put on his story something that we had already had a conversation about and had planned to do a podcast about it and then completely forgot. And it was, I think, inspired by the same person who apparently reached out to Kieran as well, which was Ryan Taggart.
Yeah.
Because he reached out to you.
He reached out to me about it.
And it was
a while
this
ago.
debate of like Traceur, Freerunner,
And
parkour athlete. Because Traceur is the kind of official name. And just to put it out there, I really fucking dislike it. Freerunner is
dislike it. It's fine.
Freerunner is the
weird name.
The sort of I'm a free runner, and then parkour athlete is the like kind of sounds nice, but also are you an actual athlete if you're 12 and you don't get any work?
I'm glad we're talking about this now because I remember sending you messages about it when Ryan was sending me messages about it, and I think my view has changed on it.
What was your view? I can't remember.
I don't know. I kind of agreed with the parkour athlete, kind of how Kieran was saying that not everyone are athletes.
No,
I don't think we're athletes.
I just wish there was an alternative.
I wish there was an alternative to all three. I don't actually like saying any of them.
Like
for the reason of sometimes as basic English, I don't think parkour athlete even flows with what you're saying sometimes to the random public and things.
You can see why so many news reports say like parkourist and parkourer.
Yeah.
Like, so to put it simply, Traceur came from basically Team Traceur, which, as far as I'm aware, means to sort of trace a path from point A to B. I had to actually check this with Max Henry a few months ago because I was getting annoyed at the actual it was ages ago. But I checked with Max Henry because he's obviously parkour knowledge guru.
Yeah.
The only reason Traceur really exists is because the first fucking parkour team was called the Traceurs, and then they went, "Oh, we're Traceurs." It's like as if
now, it's like if Stora were the first parkour team, and then everyone after that says, "Oh, we're all Storas."
But it's so counterintuitive to anyone outside of parkour to go, "Oh, you do parkour, but you're a Traceur." Like skateboarders are skateboarders, and they skateboard.
Yeah.
Rollerbladers are
rollerbladers.
Or
you just said it.
Yeah.
Bladers.
Bladers, inline skaters.
Yeah.
Like they all kind of work because you're riding inline skates.
BMXer.
Snowboarder. And then we have, I'm a Traceur. It's like, how fucking pretentious do you want to sound? It's such a pretentious term. And I fuck it. I'm so for the like OG terms like cat parts and things like this. I love the fact that like UF came in, made these technically shitty names, and then everyone kind of adopted them, and then people then realized like, oh, there's these better names. I wish everyone said cat parts and stuff because I think
an arm jump.
It's one, I like them, and two, they're such a nice like pointer at the roots of the sport. But Traceur doesn't make fucking sense because it doesn't. I mean, it makes sense now, but it wouldn't. If you went, oh, let's come up with a name for parkour athlete. Never once would you say Stora.
No,
you'd never go, oh, we're all Storas.
But you also wouldn't say just a random word.
No,
because you wouldn't.
You would have to say parkourers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't want that.
I mean, there's no easy way around it because it would have been done already with naming.
And granted, free running came about in 2003 when they named it for Jump London. So Freerunners is kind of, now it's pretty OG, the term, and therefore you could argue, but once again, I'm
not saying any of these are completely wrong, but even free running just sounds,
none of them
doesn't sit right. And even when I was growing up in school, if I had said free runner, it would still confuse
It sounds
people.
like I'm wearing a cape.
Yeah, but it also confused people.
Yeah.
They wouldn't understand what it means.
Unless they knew the term free running, which some people use. Free running in parkour used to be a lot more like you'd meet somebody on the street and they'd be like, oh, is that free running? Is that they'd know one word or the other.
There was a Nike shoe called Nike Free Run, but it wasn't anything to do with parkour. It was because of running. Yeah. So those things got mixed in people's heads with free running as well.
And then anyway. Parkour athlete is basically our alternative. What parkour athlete shows is that people want to say,
I like the word parkour.
Yeah, over people want to say they do parkour, but you can't go, oh, I'm a parkour. So they're tying something on the end. You could say parkour practitioner, but fuck me, that's a lot of syllables.
Yeah, and also practitioner sounds, I mean, it is, we were practicing it, but it makes me feel quite posh.
Yeah, or it's just, I do parkour, but it doesn't always sit in a sentence when you're talking that well.
Yeah.
What do we do? This is the mission of 2021.
Yeah. First world problems this is.
How do we fix this solution?
Just fucking stop. We don't talk about it.
I'm a PKer. PKer. There we go.
Leave. Yeah. PKer. Yeah. Because I feel like this came around.
Oh, fuck me. Anyone who says urban brick toucher. Freaks me out.
Oh, yeah. But I think someone was saying a while ago when the conversation of bigger brands coming into parkour and what would happen with Nike, if something was called Nike PK or Nike FR and these things. There was a little debate about that as well. I know it's similar, not the same sort of thing, but I prefer the word parkour over it all.
I prefer the word parkour.
But yeah, I don't know.
Like Traceur.
I don't know how do people, should this conversation be happening loads more so then something actually happens, or is there
we wasted valuable years of this sports thing arguing between parkour and free running when we could have been arguing what is the term for a parkour athlete. Because it isn't Traceur.
We wasted all of this time training the sport when we should have just
been dictating
what it looks like and what the culture is like instead of just doing it.
And some people are going to argue well, do that now. Just train, bro. Don't worry about the names. Don't worry about putting labels on things. You know what?
Don't worry about life.
If we don't put a label on it, someone else is going to come in and go the IOC or FIG or whatever's going to happen, and they're going to go, oh, it's this.
Oh, what, 3G?
Oof. I feel like we're making a big deal out of it. It's just
it's not. It
is an interesting debate.
It isn't. It actually isn't a big deal. It's just kind of a funny topic. You know, you were saying,
but it could be a big deal.
Yeah, it could be.
There's that film Traceur, and they didn't even fucking spell it the French way because no one would get it because no one wants an obscure French word to sum up what you do for a sport. No one.
No.
Apart from Ryan Taggart.
Poor French people.
And French people.
When you were
and maybe PKJN.
When you said skateboarder, it reminded me that the big conversation at the moment. I don't know if we should talk about it on this podcast because it probably.
That everyone tries to emulate skateboarding?
Yeah, but it's getting to the point where it's the conversation about it is becoming. I personally think it's becoming a bit too forceful and a bit too much.
The conversation.
Yeah, the way it's spoken about. I just think it can come across.
Is it hurting your feelings because they don't like your baggy trousers?
I just think I'll move that mug because I don't know what else to say. No, I just think the whole idea of parkour is nice when people pull in inspiration from absolutely anywhere. I think your point a while ago when people think things are old school in parkour. When
my point normally
old things and they try and relate it in that way is false. But what people don't see as well, with some of the people who do emulate skate stuff or they wear skate clothing or whatever, some of them actually did used to skate before they did parkour.
Yeah, so my issue more, because
especially now it's getting more mainstream. Skateboarding, this is what some people kind of got confused with Kieran's video with this. Skateboarding is more mainstream anyway, and that clothing is kind of more mainstream. Parkour is getting bigger, So some people get into parkour and that is just what they wear and that's kind of what they like.
Yeah, I mean, I've worn skate brands like all my youth, essentially.
And there's probably people who do other things. They could artists or a rock climber, a boulderer. They could be fully in the skate scene. Jonah Hill, he's an actor. He's fully in the skate scene, but so he kind of thrives off of that and dresses like that. So I don't think mixing sports is really a big deal.
I don't think, no. So where mine comes into it, my thought process, because I think it was Arch Club put up a couple of posts about it, didn't they? And then like that kind of sparked off a bit of a debate. And I saw
Don't get me wrong, I do actually like their conversations about it.
Oh, they're doing a lot of cool conversations.
I just think sometimes it gets some people probably see it in the wrong way. That's what I'm saying.
And Noah North Street Boogie said like sort of it was something like you can't stop.
He said something, I'll forever film on a...
It was basically about the camera, like it being fun. And so I'm so down for like, as a creative outlet to film on any medium. What I don't like is when filming on that medium gets treated as if it's some like nostalgic throwback to the origins of parkour.
Yeah.
When 90% of the people in the sport at the moment came into it when we had crushed depth of field.
Well, 550Ds.
550Ds, silhouettes on rooftops, zero like kind of VHS, anything like this. Like that kind of annoys me when people immediately treat that style as like being more that's the kind of word, is when people treat it as being more genuine to parkour's culture over someone who might make a film very cinematically in today's standards, and it kind of is like, oh, it's too glossy. Yeah. It's like you can have personal taste, but you can't say that style is genuine to parkour's culture because it simply isn't true.
Yeah.
The clothing thing is another sort of debate that I'm not that fussed about because trends. It's just trends.
Also, not just clothing, but apart from what you just said there, I don't actually see. I guess everyone's different, but I haven't really seen any problem with any of it. It's just parkour's still going on. Parkour's still adapting. It's still young, really. And I think if anything is forcefully pushed, what's the point?
That's the problem.
We talk about culture so much, but now it's being spoken about so much. Something could get forced, and it's just not right. Like I think just let things happen.
Well, that's the funniest thing about culture, right? Is that it's, as you said, we talk about it so much, but you can't
make culture happen, really.
No, it just happens.
Exactly. So
like, we could change the scope of things if we said that's not allowed, but all that's going to do is cause a fucking tangent where people...
So you know how you were saying on Robin, is it Robin? Yeah. About if everything moved to TikTok. Do you remember you said that?
Yeah.
And you've just got to accept that starts to happen. If all the parkour was on TikTok, that is where parkour is now. And you can not like it, but I can't. I don't know how I'm trying to explain this, but
we can't change it.
It's the same as if, not saying that people would like it, but if this era right now even blew up more, and for the next 5 years, a lot of parkour videos basically look like skate videos or were filmed in that way. You can't force people to not do that. And that will probably those years will just be known as that's what culturally happened in parkour.
Yeah. You know? That's the thing. I've got no problem with kind of like, I mean, Kipper are a good example because they have essentially taken that style and done it very well, but also not made it feel too forced. And we've said this in the past. My only issue is when that's perceived, it's more people's perception of it.
Yeah.
When people perceive
that confused about it
as being more genuine to parkour's like OG culture. And it's like, nah.
Yeah. Kipper do a very good job of it.
I think what we're going through basically is just another wave of very, I don't know what the word is. Like, okay, so you remember the 550 era when like Storo were obviously one of the big groups pushing a certain style of video, swooshy transitions, epic music, silhouettes, and then fucking everyone else started doing that, right? Like there was a lot of the same style of video, and that very much became known as what parkour videos were like. And other people would push in directions and people would do other things.
But it was I'd say it was nearly everyone was doing that.
Yeah, like we had a soundtrack and we had a visual style to what we would have considered the way parkour looks. We're essentially, I feel like for the last couple of years, there hasn't maybe been so much of an easily boxable one.
No.
Like, whereas now what it feels like is everyone's fucking trying to do the same thing, which is cool because you're seeing some people being very creative and things.
Yeah.
It also means that you are seeing a lot, like, I don't know, Kipper, GFam, I mean, Capstone have just popped up. They're I wouldn't say they're exactly in the same box. There's a lot of these emerging brands who kind of feel like they're all doing the same stuff.
Yeah, although I almost feel like now it's different. So it used to be, I'm far away from the mic.
And just to clarify, that's not me trying to say, oh, Motus is outside of this and we're superior. It just, I'm saying like, it feels like there's a lot of the same visual styles going on.
Yeah, I feel like there is definitely a lot of the same visual styles, but at the same time, I think the reason why we're going through, it's not a hard time, but we're just going through confusion with parkour culture and confusion with what parkour is at the moment, is actually because back then, everyone could kind of tell what a parkour video looked like, 550D silhouettes. A lot of people pushed it, but I guess I can think of Starra pushing it kind of the most. And Storm, anyway. So I think now really everyone's gone off into their own boxes because there's people like Beans.
Yeah.
I don't think they fit into that. They blade a bit and stuff, but their videos aren't skater style, if that makes sense.
No, true.
I actually think now there's actually just loads of miniature boxes. There was one box. Now there's so many miniature boxes that people clash quite a lot. People don't actually know where they sit in those boxes because there's still people who make videos that are just tripoded cameras and not tripoded. You know, like Yanis Show's videos are just parkour videos. Yeah. There's loads of different mediums now that no one knows where they sit.
I just had a thought as well, right? Is that
which is the best. I think that's actually the best thing. Everyone should just start doing that. Just do what they're inspired by and not just looking inside of parkour. But do still look inside.
But okay, so where my thought process is that everyone is pulling inspiration from the same places. Yeah, I think
I'd say they are just. I guess like the majority of it.
I would say the majority
depends who you're looking at.
Okay, maybe not the majority.
People who are shoved to the top probably are. Yeah, like GFam and Kelan.
There is a rise in the emerging brands and teams pulling it. I think this is the easiest way to sum it up. There is an undeniable rise of the. It's undeniable that the emerging brands and teams are pulling inspiration from early skate vibes. Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think that is like I said, that's true. Yeah. I've just realized that we are in this weird position where the sport has now been around long enough that we have multiple generations of it, right?
Yeah.
But the footage and styles that were established in the very early generations, David Bell, et cetera, there wasn't really a style to them. They were kind of just videos. They would come up. The Storm Freerun, the early story years are too close to pull inspiration from and to like, because now skateboarding could either be filmed on fucking Red Epics or
even in skateboarding, there's the debate of people are getting confused why people are still filming on.
Yeah. But like when they film on those things, they're being genuine to their roots. They're filming on the technology that was around when skateboarding was popping off at the start.
Yeah.
Technically, we could do that if we were filming on the technology that was around when parkour was at the start. But no one wants to film on a 550D.
No, and I also
the sport's almost too young that we're pulling inspiration from other sports because we've got nowhere else to pull inspiration from.
Yeah,
and skateboarding is the easiest because there are so many links to that sport just through culture.
I also think there's been more filmmakers taking unoriginal paths with skate videos because you see a lot of the VX stuff being pushed, but there's actually loads of videos that are the complete opposite, and they are cinematic skate videos, but every one of them is so different that I get confused that why haven't people done this in parkour? And you wouldn't even link it to skateboarding if someone did it in parkour. And I also think might be unpopular opinion, but I don't think the old parkour videos I don't really want them to come back because I don't think they show parkour in the best form.
No, but you do what we do.
They cut angles so much. But now you're seeing so much more.
What we do want to have come back is the vibes. That video we watched the other day.
That's
the thing we're missing.
Oh, okay, no. So that video, yes, because that actually That's the roots. That's the old school kind
What was that? It's got a horrific title.
I don't think I want to repeat it. I can't remember what it's called, but let's not repeat that.
It's not control over women. It's something weird like that. No,
it's control over.
No, it's power over bitches.
Yeah,
or control over bitches.
Something like that. But okay, yeah, that sort of stuff I think is good to not necessarily need to bring that back, but that's what I think was a kind of a good direction.
What's interesting though
is
is like
see the vibes and you can see the training.
But what you like, I know you like, is the long. It's like what we've got on the Pro Dad Cam, the long continuous shot, which is something that I've fucking loved and done for years now since getting those handycams. What I don't feel necessary, unless I wanted to do it for a creative approach, is to get an old handycam and shoot onto VHS. I want to get those shots, which are long, unobstructed shots, but I don't feel like I need to do them via a VHS.
No, sometimes I just want to know what's best so you can see the parkour. That was the direction when we did Soul Destroyer. It wasn't
show the parkour as well as possible. That was literally the goal.
We wanted to make a video where we prioritized the parkour, then the editing and filmmaking.
Yeah, every single shot was just what angle, whether it's gimbal or single shot, is going to show the parkour as well as possible. That was basically how we thought.
And that kind of stems from we were starting to notice how good things look on an iPhone. And it's nothing to do with the iPhone camera, but it's just the way you think when you film parkour on your phone.
The way you have to position yourself.
Well, you literally just think of the parkour. It's quite unnatural to go, this looks cinematic on my phone. So which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because you can see the parkour.
What did annoy me about Arch Club's thing is that they said the soundtrack of parkour is hip hop. And I was like, I get where you're coming.
I shared it on my story and I did feel a bit bad afterwards.
I was like, I get where you're coming from, but don't put me in a box.
No, well, I just said, I did send a voice message
music again and I love it.
Yeah,
we got a music chat in the Discord. It's one of the most active parts of the Discord. It's great.
They said stuff about, there's obviously skate rock and when they said something about surf rock and things.
Skate punk and things.
But I don't see that attached to, I don't see that as skateboarding when I see it. I know, I guess maybe other people do see it.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of tracks that have been used in parkour videos. Sometimes I see a track that parkour videos used way before they're brought up in skate videos.
The type of person to actually genuinely use the terms like surf punk and skate rock, I feel like that's the type of person who's never done a fucking action sport in their life just is going like, oh, that's some skate rock.
Yeah.
Like, so I want to wax.
I mean, you grew up doing parkour, listening to, well, I don't know, but you were referencing some videos that I get what
some of the earliest UF videos were like Rage Against the Machine, Refused.
Yeah.
That was all BAM. Like,
but I do know where they were going with that post because there is a majority of videos that had the same sort of vibe.
But I think we are moving
as people in parkour. I don't think that's right that everyone listens to.
And I think actually people are becoming more self-expression with what music taste they're into in the last
it's sick. It's more accepted now.
It used to be that like we were saying about the kind of general vibe of like story videos and the early days. Back then it felt like there was a fucking soundtrack, and it was really kind of hip hop or like happy vibey things
or post rock.
All post-rock.
Which is kind of, not
that these are all different genres, but like there were certain things that were just the tried and tested. And now I think there's probably, it's probably because of things like Instagram and I think people are just whacking on stuff they like more often and being like, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I know that me and you even feel like this sometimes because sometimes we would like to use a heavy song for parkour because it's kind of what we like, but even nowadays, I sometimes feel guilty about doing it.
What? Because
not guilty. I just find it scarier than it needs to be.
Yeah, I think it depends on the type of heavy. Because, like, I mean, if we could have got,
sometimes it doesn't go with it at all. But it's, I still think that probably happened back in the day when there was this soundtrack to parkour. There was probably quite a lot of people who wanted to use certain musics, but they ended up just following what everyone else was.
Here's an interesting thought. Like if we got permission to use the Turnstile track that we wanted to use, which we didn't even fucking hear back from them and it would have cost thousands, but there was a certain track that literally was what Soul Destroyer, anyone I've played this song to and said, this is the track that we wanted to have as the main focus of Soul Destroyer has gone, oh my fucking God. And it's called Turnstile, I think it's Can't Get Away. if we'd used that and somebody had gone like, oh, because Turnstile are fucking directly linked to skateboarding. They've got like pro skateboarders in their videos, they skate and things like this. If somebody had said like, oh, you're using that to be like skateboarders, I would have we're using that because that band is fucking sick. Like, and we saw them at 2000 Trees and they were playing chess and they looked at us.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, exactly that. But yeah, no, it's just music's music, isn't it?
Music's music, bro.
Individual.
This has gone on for ages. We talked about dark stuff, parkour, good stuff.
I open my mouth too much.
We should go, but my DPD delivery still hasn't come.
Oh yeah.
So Jordan's waiting on a package, so I can't send to him.
Nice.
Poor Jordan.
What did you think of the one GoPro angle? Sorry,
Yeah,
if people who are
guys.
listening, you can't hear this, but you can't see this.
I still don't understand anyone who watches podcasts, so I don't know.
I haven't watched podcasts before.
Yeah.
I can understand it if maybe you're sitting there doing something, but you'd have to just, I guess if you're using it to glance over now and then, maybe
to lure them in again, those who haven't paid for it yet. I've had a haircut. Take off my headphones so you can see I ruffle it up a little bit. So I do. That outfit I was wearing yesterday, I felt popping.
Nice.
I felt good. So yeah, shame I'm not wearing it today, but you know, sick. Well, this has been a wild podcast.
Yeah, no, it has. I feel like I never noticed now when people have haircuts. I just didn't know you had a haircut.
My hair was huge before. It's like a fucking.
But I just don't look at people's hair.
I look
anymore.
like a surf rocker, dude.
It's. I don't know why. Maybe because I just don't have hair now. I don't look at hair.
Yeah.
I promise.
I don't look at your hair. Don't judge you.
Yeah, no. Should we bring in the other two angles again? It's a lot of work, but if you're dying,
unless somebody wants to like get Patreon free each month and do the editing for us, that's a deal. $5 a month.
Oh, what, the cuts? The cuts of it.
Just the multicam. You just have to sit there and go 1, 2.
You then have to listen to the whole thing in case they
say I'm naughty.
Well, yeah. Well, in case they troll us, I should not.
Oh
have said
yeah,
that word.
Troll.
Yeah, they could.
They could slip something in a nasty title.
Yeah. Anyway, we should wrap this up.
Yeah, we should wrap this up. We should. Oh mother! I always hit the wrong fucking button. It's because why would you? Oh no, they are underneath. I'm an idiot. I'm just not looking.
It's because I think because we haven't wrote anything on these ones that we do that.
I need to write crickets and nothing.
Yeah.
Just saying loads now.
Here's a if you want me to ruin your life, next time you listen to our podcast, see if maybe tally down the amount of times we say like.
And also, have you ever thought about what side of the table I'm sitting on and what side of the table Kelan's sitting on? Because someone came in here the other day and they were like, no, you're sitting on the wrong side.
I could understand how that would freak them out.
They thought I sat on the other side and faced Kelan, and it was fucked them up.
Yeah.
So if you're watching,
it's always the same. Yeah,
it has been since the start.
Yeah,
apart from when we stood up and we stood next to each other like insane people.
Oh, stood up for podcasts. Yeah. All right.
Wicked. Love you. Bye.